what could go, completely wrong choice for the engineering team, and what is the prerequisite which they start ignoring?
A lot of people think, oh, you set up an X and that's done. Actually, it's not like that.
There is always a tendency to over-engineer, front-end application by just throwing everything there.
But that's the fun part, right? I mean, you never know when your hobby application becomes a production application.
You are the GitHub star as well as, the GDE. See, to the outside world, it looks glamorous.
I want to become GitHub star. Like, why? I remember like going to Google GDE Summit and they gave a shout out because it was close to 1 million or somewhere, how this software engineering will look like. And no one has answer to this because right now everyone is exploring. Everyone is trying to see how AI can change the way you work. LLMs are there, of course. It's getting better, of course, but it is also getting expensive. Companies who even glorified it, like Meta, Amazon, they are now actually reducing the budget. People are just scared, like how AI is going to impact their job. A lot of people are scared to actually even experiment with their career. Don't stop thinking. Like, thinking is something which you still have to do.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Techie Talks with Kuldeep. I am your host Kuldeep Singh. Today we are excited to have Mr. Santosh with us. Santosh is having 17 plus years of programming and application development experience and very well known name in the developer community. Santosh, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Kuldeep. I mean, it's a pleasure to be here. And thanks again for the invite. So thank you.
Let's be also very honest. Many enterprises team, yes, they go and adopt monorepos, but then they just start creating, messy, slow building where, say, hey, it is again, the building itself is taking days or even kind of multiple days. From the architecture perspective, and since you have seen many of those, what could go, completely wrong choice for the engineering team, and what is the prerequisite which they start ignoring, which turns these issues to them?
When it comes to monorepos, it's an incremental process. A lot of people think, oh, you set up an X and that's done. Actually, it's not like that. You have to actually go ahead and check if you're doing something wrong. And the best way to do is check your dependency graph. NX has a command called NX graph, which you can run, and then you can see. It also gives you like affected graph and affected tasks. So you can see like in case you make some changes, how many projects will be built again. And that gives you some idea like that you are doing something wrong. If you are building, maybe if you're making a change for a single application, and then there are 10 other applications which are being built because you made some change in the application one, definitely there is something wrong with your dependency graph and you should be fixing that. So it's not like, I'm saying, what I'm trying to say is it's not like a one-time job. Monorepos needs, someone to actually go ahead and make them better. And the best way to do it is have a dedicated person doing that.
No, you are right. And as the dependency list also grows, right? Because PS, when you start, it is okay to have that simple architecture, but then we've seen a couple of like the requests, and then you start adding more and more dependency. As your dependency grows, your graph grows, and then you need to manage it. And also, I have seen you are an active contributor to NgRx as well, and where you see like how team manage their state. So there is always a tendency to over-engineer front-end application by just throwing everything there. Is there a architecture how you can say, hey, this is how you draw the line between necessity, global state which you need to maintain, and these are like pure architectural changes you need to make?
That's why I really like the concept of Signal, because it allows you to have your local states, which was not there before. And then people kept on inventing their own state management. Some people were of the opinion that, oh, hey, you know what, NgRx is there, but it has a lot of maybe setup required, a lot of repeated code. But the people or the teams who invested into NgRx from the start, they know that how easy it is right now to actually just manage the state or as soon as the application grows. Because when your application is small, everyone tries to be like, oh, we have a very small application. Why we even don't need state management? Why we should bring NgRx? But that's the fun part, right? I mean, you never know when your hobby application becomes a production application. So suddenly your 10 user app is actually being scaled to 10,000 users, and now you're in a mess like where you don't know like where to put the new states. And so the recommendation is, of course, like whenever you are starting with a new application, think about state management as well. I think NgRx is pretty good. I have seen in my own application where we said, okay, we don't need NgRx. And then at some point of time, I was like, oh, how should I like integrate NgRx now? Because it just became a mess. Good thing now it's easy. I think earlier this was one of my complaints that, it was not that easy to integrate NgRx into a greenfield project. It was almost every time it's like, you know, you're breaking a building and then rebuilding it again if I have to introduce NGRX. But now over the years, team has done a great job. Now you can actually just add it into your existing apps as well, which gives you some visibility.
So they listen to the customer complaints, right?
I mean, and NGRX team is very open about like not customers, but users, right? The community. Because I don't think so users will ever complain about their state management. But yeah, in case you're talking about users as a developer, yes. So even I had this complaint with the team that, okay, it's so hard. It's easy to give recommendation and tell people, hey, go ahead and use NGRX. But when they come with a question, you know what, Santosh? I mean, I want to, but how should I do it in my application? And then I have no answer to that. So I think, yeah, finally they heard the community and yeah.
It's good, and I think you did that contribution even at the community level. But you also did more contributions, such as which is why it is reflected as that you are the GitHub star as well as the GDE. See, to the outside world, it looks glamorous, right? Hey, you are doing this, but it is like most of the time, the easiness is not about maintaining that. You still need to balance do with your core contribution with your full time and then also do this. But sometimes these are even like, I would say thankless or exhausting. So for the people who just think, hey, it is very glamorous to be these, what are some of the hardest reality which you wanted to share how come up your journey, these GitHub star and the GD part?
Now I speak to more people and they're like, hey, I want to become a GitHub star. I'm like, why? They're like, oh, it will give me more visibility. They want to become a GT because it may help them get a new job or maybe, become more famous. I'm like, okay. I mean, that's a good way to put it because you know about those programs. But in my case, I had no idea about them. I was like, my simple goal was go ahead and contribute to the community. So I just wanted to give back and then things happen, right? So uh, I never found any difficulties. I mean, of course, like I have to go back and maybe do some contribution every year to keep those. And sometime, yeah, it happened that okay, I was like, oh, I did nothing this year. Maybe I'll be removed from the program, and that's absolutely fine because I never expected it in the first place. And if I'm going through a rough time, I don't want maybe to just keep myself there because I expect or maybe I deserve something or something like that. No, I have no expectation. So for me, it has always been, oh, I love communities. I love to contribute to communities, and that's why I'm there. I mean, I have been through burnout because there was a time I was just doing too much, and then I ended up having burnout. And but I can take my time off. So all these programs actually give you option to maybe back out or maybe say, hey, you know what, I will not do this for 6 months and I will
Yeah.
come back after 6 months or a year and then I am still into the program. So they respect that. So I've seen people who join the program just for fame or something and then they decide, oh, no, this is not for me. But there are people who are still doing it. So it totally depends what's your goal, what your goals are, right?
You are right. See, and that's why, there is a word called community is associated to it. So it is not kind of the force until unless you wanted to do. But see, you started your journey because you wanted to contribute back to the community. And that's where, the realization, hey, you did so much of the contribution that it is well worth to be recognized. And as you said, right, related to the burnout, and it is again related to how do we manage our time. We all do have 24 hours and 7 days. is totally on us. And sometimes there are like due to family situation, due to company and the others, it is okay to take a pause. So, but it is totally on you. But if you are just thinking, hey, these will add a little glory to you, or maybe more get more fame, yes, that will happen. More people will know, but eventually there is a back end work also associated with this. So one thing about the Angular, you said like the changes etc. which they have made, but meanwhile there are like the other programming language such as React and Next.js also came up, and they got very quick adoption. Is it still the hey, Angular into the dominant one, or the React and Next JS has already kind of gone to the upper level in these times?
I think just try this out. Like try any prompt. The default code you will get is either you will get Next.js or React code. So I think we are into a time where talking about frameworks are like irrelevant. It's more about like how you can maybe prompt, how well you can prompt. So no one is talking about frameworks anymore. Angular is of course going into the right direction. I think they they made all the good choices before AI, I would say. I mean, adopting signals and everything, all the signal-based APIs. But they might have done better. There was a time where Angular was almost doing nothing for 2 years, and everyone, like including community, was frustrated. Like, what's happening? There's nothing new. But the framework is like just as it is, no improvements. And by the time they adopted everything, it was the AI. So it's funny that you know uh, people who like Angular or people who know how good Angular is, they're sticking with Angular. It's not like it's bad, right? I mean, it's going into that direction. It's amazing. Uh, uh, I mean, at Celonis, we were using Angular. Everything was Angular, and we loved it because how it is easy it is to actually upgrade Angular to next version. Just try doing that with React, and you will realize that you should quit your job probably rather than upgrading the React to next version. But that's a discussion for another day. But with Angular, it's actually not an issue. We ended up moving quickly, started migration, no breaking changes. The best policy of Angular team is, of course, if they break something, they will fix it. So uh, if there is any breaking change, they will offer you the migration command. So everything will be migrated without you doing anything, even a single line of code. All the new APIs and old APIs are backward compatible. So, you can still move forward and write new code and while still managing the old code as it is. And whenever you have time, Angular offers migration for them as well. So you can do an incremental migration to adopt the new APIs. And that was amazing. I mean, that's what more enterprises, I think everyone needs it, but you know, people don't talk about this enough, or people have no idea about such things which exist. Because Kuldeep, you already also know this because if you work in enterprise, they hardly would give you any time to actually do the migration. They're like, oh, we are already on Angular 11 or 12. Why should we migrate? And the people who know this, they're frustrated, and people who are supposed to give you green light that you can go ahead and migrate are the one non-technical people, and they don't care.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, but we are still making business, right? Why should I migrate? So that's another discussion.
Yeah, and you are right. I think all the languages discussion which used to be, hey, what tech stack you are using, etc. Now with the GenAI assistant, it feels like, hey, it is of no big change. Of course, still, from the managing and how do you manage it, still a lot of work require, and it is definitely upon your expertise. If you feel expert in one tech stack and that's what you have been using and your companies are using, go ahead with that. But if there is something new where some things are not working, so every tech stack will not provide you the everything. It is you are the architect for it, and to choose what is the right combination for you.
Cool.
So, Santosh, other than this, you also did the work on the YouTube, right? And where your post got hit even more than a million view, which is, by the way, very good. What like while designing the course, were you deliberate to do, something different, or it just also came naturally as your GDE and the GitHub star came while you built this course for the YouTube?
Really, so when I was actually recording this course, I wanted to do something different. I wanted to actually make mistakes, um,
Okay.
and I wanted to show like, oh, what can go wrong. So it was not just about teaching the good parts of Angular. It was also teaching about like what in case you get an error, like how you should fix it. So I was making all those mistakes in the videos like intentionally because I wanted to teach them the right way. Or I was going more in depth, showing them like how maybe if I'm talking about dependency injection, I went into depth, like, okay, showing them all the different examples, how it should work and what are the different ways it can work. But most of the most of the YouTube tutorials out there were just like, oh, this is how you use dependency injection. You create a service and then inject it and then use it. But there are 10 different ways to do it. So that's how I decided to do it. And believe me, and when I was recording it, I was like, okay, maybe I'll just publish it, make some money, maybe edit the videos. But by the time I moved to Germany, and I was like, oh, I have no time. And then I decided, after some time, I decided, oh, I'll just do it for free, like push it for free. And
Mhm.
somehow I ended up talking to Quincy, and Quincy said, hey, why not just, because I wanted to actually do another course. Gladly, I mean, unfortunately, I couldn't. But anyways, Quincy saw the another course, and he was like, why don't you publish this course? I was like, if you want, I just go ahead and do it, but I don't have time to edit it. So he said, yeah, perfectly fine. And somehow it ended up blowing. I think it has close to 1.5 million views or something. I stopped looking at the stats but a long time ago, so I don't know like how much views it has. But I remember like going to Google GDE Summit, and they gave a shout out because it was close to 1 million or somewhere. So yeah,
Okay. No, that's very interesting, and because I think most of the time you are right. While building something, we try to show what is a perfect look like, but we don't show where the errors or the issue could go, and that's what it's stopped. Because when they look at some tutorial, they think it is very easy, then they go ahead and implement it, then they start facing the error, and then they don't have anyone to help. So I think your course definitely helped it. So LLMs can now generate, right, UI component, boilerplate code, and basic component instantly. From the front end engineers, now there is a worry as well, right? Hey, what specific architectural or system level skills which we need to start mastering or start reading right now to become irreplaceable or to become relevant in the industry?
to be frank, I mean this was the discussion at the conference where I was. So I was at the
Hmm.
JS Nation. And I think this was a constant theme across multiple discussions. Like I was part of a discussion where we were talking about like how this software engineering will look like, and
Hmm.
no one has answer to this. Because right now everyone is exploring, everyone is trying to see like, oh, how AI can change the way you work. But the basics, I think a lot of people are not worrying about basics, but I think that's something which you should care about. I mean, people still need engineers to go ahead and find the issue in case something goes wrong. LLMs are there, of course. It's getting better, of course, but it is also getting expensive. Not everyone is able to actually afford it. I mean, companies who even glorified it, like Meta, Amazon, they are now actually reducing the budget. They're like, oh no, we have to put a cap. I mean, this is the only thing which you can do. Just think about a era where everyone used to use LLM. Now companies are saying, hey, you know what? You can just use it for like 2 hours a day. What will happen if
Hmm.
they don't know the basics? How are they supposed to work for next 6 hours in a day? So, I mean, I keep telling this to everyone that, okay, don't leave the basics behind, right? I mean, you have to be aware of basics. And, this is also where LLMs do pretty solid job. They can teach you if you ask the right answer. I mean, I remember I was writing a .NET code for like after a long, long time. And I ended up using CodeRabbit to review my PR. And it gave me some insights, this is not the right way to do it. You should do this, you should do that. So it was teaching me like how I can do it because I had written .NET code maybe 6, 7 years before. And I was following the same pattern because, your dark memory, it tells you, okay, this is how I used to do it. So I'll still do this, but that's not the right way. So use it to actually, make yourself better as well, study more, get more ideas. Just for example, it generates a code. I've seen like it generates LLMs or any AI agent generates a code, people accept it. Like why? Most of the things where if you open the code, you will realize they're useless and you don't even need this. I have been into scenario where I asked LLM a question, it started writing code. I'm like, what the hell? Why you're writing code? I mean, didn't even ask. And most of the people who have no idea about their product or maybe how things work in their application, they will accept that code. They will be like, oh, LLM is always right. As LLM keeps saying to you as well that you're right. But no one is right. I mean, you have to just use your mind. I think this is one thing which people are saying, more and more people are saying that don't stop thinking. Like thinking is something which you still have to do. Just I think just follow that. Like keep and learn the basics. Of course, you need that in long run, and use LLM to understand more. I mean, there are, in even in an AI or when it comes to using LLM, there are two type of people who are like, oh, you shouldn't be even looking at the code. But I'm into second group of people where I think I should be looking at my code, like at least, you know, to see like what it is trying to do. So totally depends like what kind of application you are building or how you want fast you want to move, how what kind of test setup you have. Uh, then it's absolutely fine to not look at code, but you will still end up with a lot of what you can say the code tap, which was very common before and which is happening now. But at least one person knows your code, which is your AI.
No, you are absolutely correct because earlier everything which you were building was in your control, so you were knowing whether it is going right or wrong. And now, because okay, of course, you will take these help for the LLM or the AI agents, and which will build you, but still, you are the engineer who is responsible for that code. So it is your responsibility to understand and to even clarifying. For example, hey, if you think it has built it and it looks nice, right? That's the bad thing with the LLM response, even if they are not so good. But when you just take a look on them, you feel, hey, it is fantastic. But you need to do that deep dive, and because you are the expert, so as you said correctly, you need to know your basics, because if you know your basics very well, you can quickly clarify or think, hey, this is not the right trend, and then you guide the agent into the another direction. And of course, all of these are based on the reinforcement learning. So as good instruction you keep giving, its output gets refined, and then you are really what you are looking for or what you are building.
And just look at the UIs. Most of the UIs generated by AI looks in purple. So, of course, I'm sure like your company will kick you out if you just keep generating a purple UI as an UI developer. So,
All right. Now, so we got some very longer answer, and that's what we wanted. But I wanted to touch base on some short answers as well. So you just take time and give answer in line or two. So if you have to just start a new project, right? Will you choose NX or Turborepo?
I've been always a good, great NX fan. I think I started using it back like 6 years ago when they were just supporting Angular, and it has improved a lot. So for me, I think whenever I start a new project, I still go with NX.
Okay. So now moving to our second question, and since you talk a lot to the front end developer and the community, is there a pattern where you are seeing like they are thinking about like those trends, etc., which are basically overrated at this moment?
Look, I work for a company now, right? So my job is to actually spread more for more. Just kidding. Uh, it's not. But the I mean, so whenever I speak to more and more people in the community, I think everyone is scared about just AI. I mean, it's not about the practices or anything. Like people are just scared. Like how AI is going to impact their job. I mean, that era is gone where they were worried about, hey, should I still keep doing Angular? Should I still keep doing React because nothing is happening? Or maybe is this a right way to do it? Is that way the right way to do it? Even if you go to a conference, you will talk less codes about like, how to do things. It's more about like how AI can help you. So times are changing. So the discussions, it's always like, to, if you want to improve something, it's not the 10 users who are always satisfied with your code base, but one user who is always dissatisfied, and you will give him more insights like why. So, but unfortunately, like we are going into an era where that those discussions are happening less and less.
Okay. And since, right, even from the developer, you went becoming the engineering manager, then also moved into the IC role, and then to the developer advocate, whatever kind of the path a developer wants to take. Is there a critical soft skill which they should work when they are looking for these experience profile?
Soft skills is actually, talking to people. I keep telling this too. Now, my job is as a developer advocate, so I go to conferences, spend time at booth, talk to customers, potential customers, talk to developers, and people keep asking me like, "Hey, how was your day?" And I was like, "It's exhausting because I have to almost repeat the same thing every day." And most of the developer advocates or developers you will see, they do the same. They keep repeating the same stuff to hundreds of people every day. So, of course, if you don't like talking to people, it's hard. And that's what I tell them that, at least in my case, I love talking to people. I'm just wondering, like someone who don't like talking to people. So of course, like networking is the skill you need if you want to be in dev or into dev advocacy, because you're going to solve the problem for developers, and if you don't know how to talk to them, it's different job. I mean, it's a difficult job.
No, you are right, and I think you can do that sense. For example, even if like when you were the manager, right, managing those 32 people, like it sounds very good. Hey, I'm just managing so many people, but then if you don't love it, you look for the another profile, and then there will be always some soft skill which will be requiring for it. But if you're not loving it, I mean, don't be afraid of even like changing the track. For example, going from individual to maybe to again to engineering manager or going into the dev rel. It is you who needs to decide and what you love solving, because sometimes being a developer, people think I no need to talk to anyone. I just need to talk to the code, which they think it wrong, because still you need to gather those requirements. You still need to talk to the customer and all, because your code is not going to do that part. Okay. No, those were the questions in my mind, Santosh. Anything more you would like to share?
Yeah, from few points you added at the end, I think one question also I get it a lot, like, you know, you have been doing so many different things across over the career, like, because a lot of people are scared to actually even experiment with their career. I'm like, go ahead and give it a try, right? I mean, if you're getting an opportunity, or if you think this is what you want to do, generally the way it works is like you see somebody, you get maybe motivated by them. In my case, it was the same. So I remember like when I was at the startup, I was individual contributor or a senior software engineer, and I got the opportunity to lead. I saw my manager and I was like, hey, you know what? I want to become like him. And then, of course, I did that for 2 years, and I realized, oh, this is not for me. I mean, I don't like this. I mean, I still want to write code. And then I decided, okay, let's leave. Was it easy? No, it was not. I mean, believe me, when I started looking out for a job as an individual contributor after being an almost a manager for 2 years, I started getting like rejections left, right, center. Like I ended up giving more than maybe 60, 70 interviews unless I moved to Pune. I mean, I got a job in Pune, and then I moved there. Even after that, it was hard. Uh, I was because my company said, you are an IC, but I won't be able to give you a software engineer profile because it's India, right? I mean, in India, it's like if you want to pay somebody more, you cannot just give them software engineer title. And I'm talking about in 2015 when Even there was nothing called staff engineer or principal engineer. They are really new. So they ended up giving me team lead profile, which made my job even more hard because I was an IC. But when I go for interview and tell them I'm an IC, they're like, no, you're team lead. And probably you don't write code. I'm like, I do, but you know, somehow, yeah, it's never easy. I mean, there are people who struggle with titles as well, I'm sure. But yeah, it's like what you want to do, and that's what I did in that career. I've been like team lead, then I became. I remember like I went to software engineering again. So I was after like almost 12 years, I was software engineer again, then became senior software engineer, then I became staff, and then I'm an principal. But you know, it's up to you. I mean, sometimes people just think a lot about these titles, and for me, it's like, oh no, I don't care. Give me good money, give me good work, and those titles will be maybe talk for another day. But uh, yeah,
No, you are right. And the most important is the work which you do. You should be loving it, because even in your career, you have shared, some of those examples there. You might thought, hey, it is a good opportunity, or might be it is a good match where you will fit. But then, like within a 6 month or 9 month, you find, hey, this is not something, the work which I'm exciting or making me happy, rather than keep just doing the same thing and then just getting frustrated. Hey, let's change it. And I know like change is always hard, but that's one thing which is constant, that you need to keep doing it. All right, Santosh. So thanks for joining us and bringing these real, unsugar-coated engineering insights to our show. Your journey is very inspirational. I think you have done a fantastic work, not only for the engineering, but also bringing it back to the community, which is sometimes, the engineers forget. So thanks a lot for joining us and sharing.
thank you, Kuldeep again. I really appreciate and yeah.
All right. That's it for this episode of Techie Talks with Kuldeep. Until next time, keep learning and keep innovating. Thank you for watching.